Minister Narendra Modi has just been to Nagaland. Yes, he came to Dimapur and he said a lot of things. So today, what I'm going to talk about is Bharat Jodo Yatra reminds Prime Minister not to discriminate between regions and religion. Yes, between regions and religions. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a public gathering today, not yesterday, because sometimes he thinks he has done it all today, tomorrow, day after. But today, when he addressed this public gathering at Dimapur, he spoke about some trust and development wave. Yes, trust and development wave. The Prime Minister attacked the Congress party senselessly and mindlessly because the Congress party has not been in power for the last 20 years. So who was he talking to? Who was he talking about? That is a question we need to ask him. And incidentally, Narendra Modi ji was still the Chief Minister of Gujarat when Dr. Manmohan Singh led government of India was working on the approximately 96-acre Agri-Expo grounds at 4th Mile, Dimapur, which witnessed the first expo in 2006, and that is where he was speaking from. Yes, Prime Minister was speaking from the same ground which was constructed with the help of Government of India under Dr. Manmohan Singh, that is the Congress government, the UPA government. Now, there are a lot of things that the Prime Minister said, and I want to discuss those with you, my dear friends. Prime Minister Modi said that 10 years ago, nobody could think that things could change here. But what he means by change or here are only for him to know. Because has that change come that you had dreamt about? And here is where only he knows. Things have only gone from bad to worse, and it seems that either his team, led by Mr. Temjem Imna Along, has misled him, or his team in Delhi was unable to translate what Temjem Imna Along said, or rather told them. Prime Minister laughed. Did you hear him laugh? He laughed only once during his speech. And Prime Minister laughed as he remarked that the country listens to the BJP state president of Nagaland, Mr. Temjen, who makes them laugh. Was that supposed to be a joke? I would have taken it as an insult, my friends. But maybe it was a joke, and Mr. Temjen must have laughed it off. All very well. But let's go to what happened next. Of course, Mr. Modi's speech was replete with jokes, not where he was laughing, but where we would laugh and laugh on ourselves. Because what he was saying were jumlas, possibly jumlas again. Remember the rupees 15 lakh jumla? PM Modi said that they have handled corruption. Yes, they have handled corruption. The question is how? How come there are a few people who are living peacefully? Because they have progressed under the double-engine sarkar of NDPP and BJP. And prosperity blesses them relentlessly and dutifully, while the enforcement directorate is unable to book them, even though it makes appearances through proxy notices. You heard the word right? Proxy. Proxy. Proxy notices and divine short visitations to Nagaland. Yes, the ED does come, but these are short visitations. His tall claims of the Congress making cuts, commissions, and using the Northeast as an ATM proves his disconnect with the Northeast and his ability to make hollow and false statements. Maybe he should change his speechwriter. What do you say? The Congress party is not in power, not in this oppositionless assembly. And it is BJP and NDPP who are clearly walking off with most of the money coming from the government of India. And apparently the Prime Minister recognizes it. Prime Minister Modi claimed that rupees 400 crore that has come to the farmers of Nagaland through the PM Saman Kisan Nidhi has benefited them. A state that has paddy as its main crop needs answers on whether farmers cultivating paddy are getting MSP. Are they getting MSP? Is the government of India buying the paddy from them? And how much paddy has been bought by the government? What incentives have been given to the farmers? He spoke about millet growing farmers. Millet growing farmers also want to know what are the benefits that they are supposed to have received as per his claim. It is the millet growing farmers who are asking the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi said that during Corona, thousands of sisters got money in their accounts. Yes, those who have opened the Jan Dhan accounts are still waiting for the rupees 15 lakh, my friends, to come into their account. I'm sure you're also waiting for the 15 lakhs to come into your account. But without money, without employment to generate money, where will that money come from? Is that enough, Prime Minister Narendra Modi? That is a question that people are asking. Prime Minister Modi claimed that during the time of Congress, people didn't get the complete ration. Pura ration nahi milta tha. The fact is that people are getting only 5 kg rice and no dal or kerosene or even matchsticks, which they used to get earlier, which is there in that list of items that are to be distributed through the public distribution system. And these were available, they were made available to the people of Nagaland during the Congress rule. Yes, the rice rations have a change. They have Prime Minister Modi's pictures, all right, which were not there earlier. He's correct, they have changed. His pictures are there. No Prime Minister put their pictures on these rice bags earlier, on these ration bags earlier. And the promise of 2 cylinders in the BJP manifesto says it all. The 2 cylinders in BJP's manifesto of 2023 exposes the failure of the Ujjwala Yojana and the fact that the empty cylinders are lying in houses across Nagaland, my friends, across Nagaland. And the women of Nagaland want to know why they were not refilled. The Prime Minister should tell them that. He should tell his sisters who are waiting for that answer. All right, he spoke about 8 northeastern states, calling them Ashtalakshmi, meaning, for your benefit, I have to tell you, you know what Ashtalakshmi means? 8 goddesses of wealth. 1, all of the 8 northeastern states are not going into election. And he should certainly have spoken about Nagaland specifically while campaigning for votes in Nagaland. I mean, am I right? Am I saying anything wrong? But maybe he doesn't care about Nagaland. And that is why it has been made to suffer by the double-engine government, the double-engine Sarkar of BJP in the state of Nagaland and there in Delhi. Secondly, this is another question I would like to ask on your behalf. In a 95% Christian majority state, PM Modi could at least have used an analogy that would have been understood more easily, don't you agree, rather than the Ashtalakshmi? How about 8 angels of Jesus Christ? He could have asked about that, couldn't he? Or maybe the apostles, of course. The apostles are more. PM Modi talked about young talent, resources. It did strike a sword at the hearts of the young and not so young. For the youth of Nagaland have no employment opportunities, no medical colleges, no new university, no high court, no stadiums, or even a sports academy. PM Modi needs to be reminded that it was the government of India under the Congress that set up Sports Authority of India, which still continues to be looked upon for sponsorships and promotions for budding sports persons. It is the Northeast Zone Cultural Center at Dimapur, headed by people from the northeastern states in rotation. So if you have someone heading it and that person is from Nagaland. Next time it could be somebody from Manipur, and the next time it could be from Mizoram, Tripura, and so on. This is what the Congress stands for, my friends. Recognizing, relating, and respecting the culture of each state and its people. Recognizing, relating, respecting the people. Because the Congress stands for unity in diversity. Prime Minister Modi spoke about, I have some more points. I hope you have the patience to hear me out. Prime Minister Modi spoke about having connectivity between villages and cities in Nagaland, which is a complete farce, as you all know. People of Nagaland are suffering every day because of the lack of connectivity. And this shows how little the Prime Minister is aware of the ground situation in Nagaland. The disconnect is completely clear. PM Modi said he had visited Nagaland dozens of times in the last 9 years. But of course, he has never had the time to spend amidst the people of Nagaland. Otherwise, he would have understood them. And may I remind you that Prime Minister, the late Rajiv Gandhi ji, when he was Prime Minister, along with Sonia Gandhi ji, drove all around the eastern part of Nagaland. They even spent a night in eastern part of Nagaland. Only Prime Minister to have done that. Prime Minister Modi spoke about having met Rani Gaidinliu in Gujarat. In Gujarat, he meets everybody. He surpasses, transcends barriers of time, my friends, and he goes and meets people from the past and the future. And he met Rani Gaidinliu in Gujarat. Maybe that was also a jumla, only he knows. Prime Minister Modi spoke about mentioning an organization related to culture, craft, and lifestyle in his Mann Ki Baat. Maybe it is in his imagination, or an organization that has got its due recognition has not got its due recognition in spite of Prime Minister having spoken about them in his Mann Ki Baat. It further shows complete disconnect and neglect of Nagaland, complete disregard of what Nagaland stands for. Yes, and might I remind you, I hope you've seen it. Prime Minister Modi said that King Chilli is making boom in the country now. What did he mean, my friends? Did he mean that King Chilli was Prince Chilli till Narendra Modi arrived on the scene in 2014? I leave it for the people to decipher the meaning of this remark. Prime Minister Modi also spoke about divine governance. It is D-E-V-I-N-E, not devil governance, but divine, D-E-V-I-N-E. Probably he thinks that even if you change the spelling, it means divine, D-I-V-I-N-E. But this D-E-V-I-N-E, divine governance, he does not understand anything about the people of Nagaland, about the culture of Nagaland, because he has declared 25th December as Good Governance Day. It is a day of celebration. It is a day when people are obviously going to be forced to work because Prime Minister Modi wants them to celebrate Good Governance Day on a day that Christians would like to celebrate the birth of Lord Jesus Christ. PM Modi said that the youth have given up the path of violence. Can you imagine what he said? He said that the youth have given up the path of violence, which he says has reduced by 75%. It is strange. People cannot come to terms with what happened in Mon in 2022, and his remark lacks sensitivity. He also admitted that AFSPA is still not removed from Nagaland. If there is peace, and he leads a full majority government, both at the center and in the alliance government here, which is oppositionless, Why is it difficult to do away with the AFSPA? If there is peace, why is the AFSPA still there? Seriously, something is not right yet. Prime Minister Modi shocked everyone by his admission of extortion in Nagaland. That in spite of being in complete control, he said that action would be taken, would be taken. Why has it not happened till now? What has the government been doing for the last 5 years? These are questions that all of Nagaland wants to know from the Prime Minister. When Prime Minister Modi said that the border dispute has been resolved, what was he trying to tell the people of Nagaland? That in spite of the NEDA government, NEDA government, in both Assam and Nagaland, he has been unsuccessful in resolving the problem. Who is stopping you from bringing the solution, Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Clashes have increased in the last couple of years between Assam and Meghalaya, Assam and Mizoram, and Assam and Nagaland. Who is responsible if not the Modi government, my friends? Also, during Tripura elections, there have been cases of violence, and in Nagaland too. Every day we are seeing cases of violence being reported both by the print and the electronic media. The governance that BJP has given to the state of Tripura, my friends, are two chief ministers. The first one who would increase oxygen by having more ducks in the ponds. And they have obviously not been able to control the violence. What do you expect? This is what they do. So you can't expect them to be giving you governance or controlling violence, can you? Prime Minister Modi further stated that road, railway and air connectivity had increased in Nagaland. Clearly a misplaced statement. He said that the UPA government, and mind you, he said it, he said that the UPA government had given a grant of rupees 2,000 crore during its time, which has increased to rupees 5,000 crore under him. Humbly, I ask him, if the cost of a cylinder has increased from rupees 400 in UPA's time to rupees 1,200 in Mr. Modi's time, why has the grant not increased 3 times? Why is the 2,000 crore only increase to 5,000 crore? It should increase in the same manner as the cost of the cylinder. I'm sure my friends will agree with me. Clearly, Prime Minister Modi doesn't care about the Northeast, because for him, the entire Northeast is what he talks about when he's talking about Nagaland. When he's talking about Nagaland, he's talking about the rest of the Northeast. Clearly misplaced. He only cares about power. Prime Minister Modi also spoke about a lot of things, but let me remind you, my friends, that an airport at Kohima was promised by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, but it still has to see the light of day. The railway at Kohima that PM Modi mentioned is proposed to reach 17.5 kilometers before Kohima. You know that? Yes, up to Jubza. Are people expected to walk up to Kohima from Jubza? The Prime Minister should tell us that. The second question is, when will it be completed? He has made that declaration, but when will it be completed? You know why I say that? Because we have the example of the metro in Gujarat, which took 11 years to complete. 11 years, mind you, to complete. And of course, remember the bullet train which he promised in 2019? Well, no one seems to be talking about it in the government, and not even Mr. Modi talks about it anymore. Anyhow, what did Mr. Modi mean when he said that he would walk step in step with the youth, from tourism to technology, sports to startup? Only the Prime Minister can explain that. Obviously, nobody in the BJP has the courage to ask him what he meant. And neither can I understand what he was trying to say. I've tried very hard, I haven't figured it out. Prime Minister Modi talking about Nagaland's sports park needs a lot of courage, considering that the sports potential he spoke about has been neglected. His government in Nagaland did not felicitate the under-14 football team that brought the Subrato Cup back to Nagaland after 42 years, my friends, after 42 years. The Sovima Cricket Stadium and the Dimapur State Stadium, they stand testimony to the neglect that sports persons are facing and the corruption that the Rio government is indulging in. He mentioned archery, wrestling, and boxing, for which we thank him. But what about football? What about football? Many a household can claim a budding footballer, but clearly they remain out of sight for this NDPP, BJP, double-engine government of Nagaland and the country, which is heartbreaking, heartbreaking. And I can understand the pain of my young friends, my young footballer friends who have so much of potential, so much of talent. But we shall overcome, my friends, my young friends, my children, we will overcome. Prime Minister Modi spoke about tribals, and I was glad to hear the word Adivasi, not Vanvasi this time, Adivasi. But how are they a priority? When he came to Nagaland, but did not condemn or promise any action that would be taken against the RSS affiliate called the Janajati Dharma Sanskriti Suraksha Manch that has been asking for delisting of Christian tribals. That is an attack on Christian tribals, and of course the people of Nagaland are asking this question. The BJP must answer, the Prime Minister definitely must answer. Prime Minister Modi also claimed that 55,000 houses for poor people had been accepted. Accepted, meaning 55,000 houses will be given to poor people. He did not say that they've been given. So when will they be given? He did not mention whether they have been completed or handed over to any families in Nagaland. So what were you doing, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, for the last 5 years? What was your double-engine Sarkar doing? What was the government in Nagaland doing? Why have no houses been given, or if any houses have been given, why were you not able to mention the numbers? Clearly, there is complete disregard, disconnect with the people of Nagaland. Prime Minister Modi also spoke about another issue very close to my heart, and that is about water having been the dream of people. And then he went on to claim that 3.5 lakh households have got water supply. That might be true on paper, my friends, but the wealthy are digging bore wells in Nagaland. What else are they expected to do? They will do that, right? Everybody requires water. But in the process, the groundwater table is being destroyed because the government has failed. There are households across Nagaland that still do not have water supply. I don't need to tell you this. You all know that. So these were complete lies. What fabrication was this? Why did the Prime Minister come and say that 3.5 lakh households have water when in reality there is probably one null in one whole basti at a number of places? But might I also remind you that in Kohima and Mokokchung also, people are being forced to purchase water at the cost of ₹50 for 1 tin of 16 liters. And tribal sisters are buying it, Honorable Prime Minister. And they have to stand in lines from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. The water is then sparingly used because it has to be used carefully and sensibly. And the waste cannot be thrown away. So after using that water, for one thing, it is used for washing clothes, and then it is used for sanitary purpose, sanitation. Can you imagine how the water has to be recycled? In a state which has such high incidence of cancer, if water is a commodity is something that has become a commodity, who will we ask questions to? Obviously the Prime Minister, because his claim is hollow. Let's come to Ayushman Bharat scheme. Interesting, right? Ayushman Bharat scheme might have been sent flying to Nagaland, but it still remains somewhere above the ground and it is invisible. There are no hospitals. Where are people going to get the benefit of Ayushman Bharat scheme? The Prime Minister hasn't explained. Dimapur District Hospital, catering to 3 districts, mind you, operate in candlelight. Yes, it operates in candlelight because of the erratic power supply and lack of power backup. What are we even talking about? There are no medical colleges here. There are no facilities here. And we are talking about Dimapur, we are talking about Kohima. Think about what happens in the villages. Think about what happens in eastern Nagaland. It is heart-wrenching, my friends. It's heart-wrenching when the Prime Minister comes and makes such claims. Prime Minister Modi was compelled to state that he does not differentiate between region and regionalism, religion. He does not differentiate anymore between regions and religions. However, when churches are vandalized and Christians are attacked throughout the country, Prime Minister Modi does not have a tweet to spare. It is due to Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra that he has realized that he needs to say that he does not differentiate between people on the grounds of region or religions. Rahul Gandhi's fight against the divisive and hate-filled politics of BJP has forced the Prime Minister to include this aspect in his speech. He was forced to do it. Yes, you cannot divide people just because you want to rule. Rahul Gandhi is clear that people will not be allowed to be divided and no ideology will be allowed to divide for the sake of any autocratic or dictatorial rule. It will not be allowed, and that is the stand that Rahul Gandhi has taken. And that is the reason why this statement was made by the Prime Minister today in Dimapur. And did the Prime Minister really say that he did not discriminate between people when corona vaccination had to be administered? He actually said that we don't discriminate between people. Why do I say that? One, we are getting vaccination since independence, and every government has to vaccinate the citizens of the country. And if the Prime Minister says that we are not discriminating, it is extremely disturbing. He is the Prime Minister. He is duty bound by the Constitution of India and the oath that he has taken to serve the nation and her people. How can he even suggest that for infrastructure schemes and welfare schemes, people are not discriminated against it? He's not supposed to do that, right? Is he trying to say that if I had wanted, I would have discriminated amongst people? He needs to use his words carefully, and that is a humble advice to him, because it hurts us. In the end, it is necessary for us to ask Prime Minister Modi why he has said nothing about the 2023 manifesto of BJP, or how many promises were made in BJP's 2018 manifesto, and how many of those promises were fulfilled. He has not mentioned it. No promises were fulfilled. So they just make manifestos, and they are just promises. Promises are meant to be broken. That's what he does and what he believes in. Why was there no mention of the ENPO? Because the idea of Nagaland is under attack. The Naga pride and Naga identity are at stake, and that is why people need to wake up now. People of Nagaland must beware. Prime Minister Modi did not have a word to say about the failure of the education system of Nagaland, because the RSS, one of the second RSS chief, Shri Golwalkarji, had said that keep people uneducated, you will be able to rule over them. That is what the BJP believes in. Peace was brought to the Northeast under Prime Minister, the late Rajiv Gandhiji, during whose time the Assam Accord, the Mizo Accord was signed. When will peace come to Nagaland? And when will Nagaland's political issue be resolved? The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, does not have answers, and therefore people of Nagaland must use the power of their vote carefully on 27th February 2023, my friends, when you go out to vote. It is the Congress Party that has stood for the unity in diversity of cultures and continues to fight for the people of this nation. I hope that people will vote wisely and vote for Congress Party and not the opportunists who have turned democracy into dictatorship by converting the assembly into an opposition-less one. Let change come. Let people choose wisely. I hope that you will think about all the things that the Prime Minister said and all the falsities that he propagated today. Think wisely before you vote on 27th February 2020. This time, vote for the Congress because the Congress never lies to you. You can question us. You can ask us why we are not speeding up development projects. You can question us, yes, because we want democracy to be a participating one. Participative for you. You need to be represented by people who will think for you, who will work for you, who will work for Nagaland's pride, Nagaland's identity. The Naga tribes should remain united in all their diversities. That is what we want. I will see you again soon. Share this video as much as you can because we need to ensure that people of Nagaland vote correctly, vote wisely. Congress Ase Upay